Hey, what's up everybody? It's Matt from howtomotorcyclerepair.com. In today's video in front of me here, I have a 77 KZ1000. I guess it looks like a cafe racer. Basically, it did a bunch of work to it last year and this year. And in this video, I just want to kind of talk about that, share some pictures with you, and then we'll fire it up and we'll go take it for a spin. But it's interesting how I became how this bike came to me for work. Basically, I was picking up my daughter from school one day, and I noticed a guy was wearing a muscle car shirt, and it just so happened that our daughters were in the same class and they wanted to set up a play date or whatever. So I began talking to him, and it turns out he builds cars for a living at a speed shop, you know, like 1,500 horsepower freaking street cars, which is pretty awesome. Anyway, him and his coworker built this bike on the side, and they brought it to me they referred the owner. You know, they built it for a guy. They referred the owner to me, and basically just went through a bunch of things. Tuned the carbs, shimmed the valves, you know, set the ignition timing, put progressive springs in it with heavier oil because the front end felt kind of soft. What else did I do this thing? But basically just fine tuning it, getting rid of the leaks. Tuning the carbs was the main thing. I got the jetting specs in front of me here. It had 27.5 pilots in it, and I ended up with 17.5 pilots. And it was just pig rich at cruise. When you cruised, it would just sputter, and you'd have to give it open the throttle further in order to clear it out. Basically, the rest of the jetting was fine, but for whatever reason, this thing had seriously rich jets in it. And basically, you know, how I did that is if you ride it for a while at the 8th throttle in which it was sputtering, shut it down and pull the plugs. The plugs were just black. And I opened up the air screws to 1.5, 2 turns, and freaking bug over here. And it didn't lean it out. So I just kept dropping in pilot sizes. I think I was at 20 and then finally 17.5s, and that really made this thing run really crisp. Now, as far as tuning goes, it runs pretty damn good, but for whatever reason, when you let it idle for 20-30 seconds once it's hot, you go to give gas and it kind of has a rich bog to it. And you know, I was thinking of putting 15 pilots in it, one step leaner. However, the air screws are a quarter turn out. Now, normally I preach that an air screw should be about 1.5 turns out, but for whatever reason, these 29 mil Mikuni smoothbores just do not like to run at that air screw opening. They like to be at a quarter turn out for some reason. So overall, it runs great. I just tell the guy not to get stuck in traffic and maybe just blip the throttle a little bit before you go to take off, and it usually, you know, takes care of that. So overall, this bike is just a real nice, clean design. All the electrical components are stored back here along with the battery, and all the wires actually snake through the frame, so you can't see any of the electrical wires. They just did a really nice job as far as that is concerned. And you know, they notched the tank, so this tank has been notched all the way up to the petcock, which is pretty cool. And overall, they just did a really nice job building it. I'm really impressed with their work. And they actually got another bike that they're working on, and hopefully I'll get a chance to work on that too. I have no idea what it is, but yeah, that's about it. All right, so let's do a little idle clip. We'll ride it, and that's pretty much it for this video. As far as how-to videos for this bike, I will be coming out with installing a Dyna electronic ignition and coils. Basically, it's here this year because the ignition module fried, and what happened is the coils became cracked. Instead of being at 3 ohms, they are at 0 ohms, so they internally shorted. It pulled too much current through the ignition module, and it fried it. Just went up in smoke. So new coils and new ignition, and I'll do a video on how to install that. Basically, that is the same for these Kawasaki and Hondas, any inline four. It's pretty much the same. So, all right, let me set everything up to hear this thing idle.